So how did you originally find your internship?
Yeah, so I was in job seekers group chats, like WhatsApp groups, like a lot of Gen Z people my age are. And then I came across someone actually sent like your LinkedIn posts that you're open for internships. And then I wasn't actually looking at the moment because I just finished my my uni, like my final assignment was just submitted, and then I just let me just do it because it was cold emailing, right? You just send your email to Hello Genie, and then it's like, okay, let me just apply, send my CV, and then maybe 2 weeks later, actually, you replied to me, and thank God I actually looked at my Outlook app because I'll be honest, I don't look at my Outlook app, and then yeah, and then back and forth emailing on like the same day, and then we scheduled the interview on one day, right? And yeah, that was it. So again, I think it was just kind of like fate or like some sort of
a
like
bit of luck.
yeah, luck, right? It's just like I looked at the group chat at the right time. I looked at my Outlook app at the right time, and then and then we scheduled it, and then and then the dog cafe interview. I was 5 minutes late, but you didn't mind if I was 5 minutes late. And
you
then
thought I was joking. Do you remember?
Yeah. And I was like, is this actually like is this actually a dog? Like, are we gonna interview? And you have no idea how I was struggling to know what to wear today because I was like
the dog cafe.
Yeah, I was like, it's an interview, but it's also at a dog cafe. So like, how casual or formal do I have to be? But I think my outfit was fine, and then we had a chat for how long? Oh, like an hour maybe.
Yeah, an hour or so.
Yeah, and then it wasn't really an interview. It was just literally just
a chat. Yeah,
a chat, and then and then he offered me the internship in a day, and that's like rare because I've had internship interviews where, second stage, right? For just an internship, why do we need second stage internships interviews? But yeah, and then I joined at the end of November, and then it was very nerve wracking, of course, and then just work my way up and try to got used to the environment. And
how do you think it evolved? Because I think that when you first came, it was probably quite nerve wracking, and we even like spoke about, okay, I can tell that you were a bit nervy at first. But how do you think that you evolved as a person, over that time as well?
I think the more it's just kind of exposure therapy, right? So the more exposed you are to the environment, the more you're used to it. So now I'm definitely so much more comfortable in the office. Like if I look back to how I was in the first month, and and I know like what to say when, and then when to not say stuff, and then when to think before I speak as well, and when to think before I ask, because that was something I had issues with as well. And then just getting used, and then doing my job, like, absorbing feedback actually, and then applying it to my work. So I think that's what you were kind of praising me about, which but I think that was kind of coming from a place of like, I just don't want to mess up, right? So whatever feedback I get, or if I make a mistake, I can't make it again. I can't do that. So
but you can, like, that's how you learn, from mistakes.
But that's just me personally. I can't allow myself to make the same mistake, or else I'm gonna beat myself up, right? But obviously, of course, you allow mistakes, right? A Genie always allows mistakes, but for me,
I make mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes in Genie. So, but it's a matter of improving from it. So I think that's what I try to do every day. Just see what I can do better, day on day after day, and then and then some days it's pretty hard. And then at least in my position where I am trying to make placements now, compared to my first month where I was just getting to know how to source, getting to know how to use the softwares, the platforms, right? But now it's different, and then some days are hard compared to, and then some days like yesterday was, I managed to send a lot of CVs out, which is rare for a few weeks for me, right? But just depends on the day, really.
What do you think? So like your friends or peers, so they must be struggling to find jobs, like some of them. So what do you think the outlook is at the moment for young people, or what advice would you give them?
Just keep trying. Like I know, well, I went to Walk and Talk today, and I had someone ask me, like, do you think I should stop like applying in the weekends? I'm like, no, you should keep doing it. Like, keep doing whenever you can do it. So don't stop like applying, and then wherever you see an opportunity that you want to be in, just do it. I mean, I was so tired of cold emailing. I did so many cold emails before I got this internship, and then cold emailing is how I got this internship, right? So it was fascinating that, like, yeah, you'll get so many rejections, but you just have to, you have to have that mental space of it.
I remember one of the reasons I kept your CV aside was I liked the photo that you put on. It was more like, it just showed a bit more of your personality.
My LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn, but also on your CV. I'll have to like look later and show you which photo you had on. But it just, I don't know. It just you that photo. I was like, okay, she'll fit in with us. I just knew from the photo.
Yeah, you need to just show yourself, like you're making me do, right? I'm trying to brand myself, so you have to brand yourself as whatever you're trying to apply to. So if you're like a graphic designer, you need to put out your portfolio on LinkedIn, and then let people know that that's what you're doing. That's the job that's the work that you've been like trying to go for, and and then just be as, how do I say, like, is it good to say that being niche is also a strength?
It can be. I think it can be, and I guess when you're doing more of a targeted, like what we explain, in terms of candidates when we're doing like BD and stuff like that, and we'll say like these are the companies that we're targeting. That's also what young people should be doing too, right? They should be saying, okay, these are my top 30 companies. I'm going to reach out to them. But I don't think everyone's always reaching out or doing the cold email, or even I might even say encourage to call into these companies and ask to speak to someone, especially if they take interns, because no one's doing that direct, bold moves, you know? But those are the things that get noticed.
No, I think it depends on the person, because I mean, even now we've still met people who are not interns and they still are. let's just keep it there. But yeah, it just depends on the person. So you'll find someone like my age who's very determined, but you'll also find someone who's not as much. But it really just depends on their mentality. But my advice really is just to keep trying, and then, because you never know where you're gonna end up. I never thought I was gonna end up in Genie doing a podcast right now. or speaking the radio.
Or you were on the radio as well. Was that in the first week, 2 weeks?
I think that was literally my first week into an internship, into Genie, and I was speaking on the radio, and I was like, who would have thought, actually? And my family was very proud of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They were very happy.
But your mum was, wow, my baby.
and then now I'm speaking on a podcast, which is, it's so funny. And so you have to keep trying. I was trying for 18 months, and then on and off with interviews and rejections, and then I ended up here, and then now I'm not even an intern. I'm an apprentice now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you are a recruiter now. You are. You've got a full-time job. So, and that's something as well that a lot of people, maybe they don't see always the value in, they're doing an internship and maybe taking a bit of a lower pay initially, but then the world is your oyster. You can make way more than your peers, in recruitment for sure. But it only took a few months to get into that state.
I mean, definitely just need to put yourself out there as well. So I believe like previous interns before me, they went to walk and talk, like they reached out to you. They reached out to everyone in Genie, and then they got their internships that way as well. So unfortunately, it's just not, when we're not in an age where you can just submit your CV and then that's it, right? You just have to actually do something besides that. So do networking, like brand yourself more. Do a lot of, I tell all my friend groups actually post on LinkedIn.
Do they now? Yeah.
So I remember when you told me, like, I remember asking you, how did you end up like doing the National or the Gulf like articles, and then you just told me because you were branding yourself on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, now I have to do that, and now I tell everyone as well. Just if you want to get a job, try to promote yourself on LinkedIn.
You just never know what you'll find. And then even like the other day, we got paid paid media opportunities on LinkedIn. Are you joking?
Who would have thought that was actually going to happen now?
Who even thought that was a thing?
Yeah.
And
then that happens, and then you just and it feels embarrassing, at least for like in my age, to like just post whatever there is, because we have in our generation, it's like we're always like, we just don't want to, we're scared of how we're going to be perceived by other people, right? So then we hold off in a lot of things that think that will be made fun of, right? So let's say, okay, I don't want to do a LinkedIn post because it seems embarrassing. It seems like I'm being like, I'm being needy. But like, you just have to do it, because you just never know how it's gonna. I saw a post actually on LinkedIn that your next post could be your next job, right? So then, yeah, just keep branding yourself, keep putting yourself out there, and like, don't let it get to your head if you're being too embarrassing. If you're not even making sense, just do it. Literally, just do it. And then, yeah, like, again, I wasn't looking at the time when I was like, when I emailed for this internship, I just did it, and then it happened, and then I did it, and I looked at how far the dog cafe was, and I was like, oh, but I just did it, and then I'm here, and now I'm actually doing it, and then
it's that same week. So I had invited 2 people, yourself and another person, to meet me in person, and the other girl said, "Oh, can you not do it over Zoom?" And that's the reason I rejected her. Nothing else. Yeah. Because what? I'm meant to get to know you over Zoom.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how you have to do. You like, I don't. We can't, like, there's some extent we can be picky to what we want for our roles, right? Okay, if it's not a role that you don't want to be in, then don't be in it. But again, we're not in a position where we can basically be picky about what we want, right? Like, yeah, you can try to negotiate for a salary, but I think, again, if for an internship, at least just get what you can get, and then
go from there. Yeah. What do you think? Like, because the expectations versus reality piece, when you do come out of university and you graduate, do you think that? What do you think about that? Do you think that people come out with quite high expectations, and what do you think that the reality of it is?
I think the reality, I think a lot of people in my age, Gen Z, they're aware of the situation in the job market. So I think when we graduate, we're actually very scared to enter the job market because we have no idea what to expect, and we know that the next couple months, not even months, year, is gonna be a lot of, okay, I applied, a lot of rejections, a lot of like 1,000 applications, 1,000 rejections. But if you can just manage to get that mindset of like, I can do it. But that too, that's for people who haven't worked during uni. So I know people who, because they know how the job market is, they start working while doing uni.
Yeah.
But again, that can also affect your uni grades as well. So it just depends.
What do you think? So how much percentage of people are actually working during university or before, whatever? How many people have actually done any kind of job? Any job? It doesn't matter.
I think it's very less.
Very low, yeah.
It's, let's say, I don't know how to give like an accurate percentage, but it is quite less.
And what kind of jobs are they doing?
My first internship wasn't really an internship. I was literally just mystery calling. So I was studying and I was calling up hotels as a customer. And then those calls were recorded, and then they're just basically quality check. So that was my first ever job, actually. And I was doing that well. So
that's
a lot of
good.
Just those type of works. But I know I got that through a connection.
Yeah.
So that's why connections are very important. You need to know, you need to talk to people, or else I would have never, I found that through a friend. So I would have never gotten that experience. Yeah. Albeit, 2 months of just calling random hotels. But that's still experience. I was very nervous calling people. And then that mystery calling was what got me into actually being comfortable on the phone. And now in recruitment, I have to talk to people so many times. And it's still nerve-wracking, but I know how to do it properly. I know how to speak as well, and then perceive myself over the phone. And then, but so thanks to that work. I got that through a connection. So again, it is, your networking, that's very important. Just need to know as many people as you can. And it's not about quantity, it's also about quality. So be with people who you know are going to get you somewhere as well. So yeah, I think that's that. And but like the people who are working now while doing university, it's tricky to get a job while doing uni. Again, it depends on connections that you got, but if you can do it, then do it, because then at least you graduate with some sort of experience.
Yeah.
Right.
It's quite interesting because obviously I'm a totally different generation to you. I'm 20 years older than you almost. Yeah, almost 20 years older than you. And like when we were younger, you know, I'd been working from 14 years old in like waitressing. I'd done some packing, like I'd even delivered the yellow pages. I'd done so many different jobs, working in change booths, like then I worked in a bar when I was at uni. I had 3 jobs at uni. I also did this like PR and promotions for a club. So when my generation, when we came out of uni, we'd done loads of random jobs, loads of random jobs, you know, and a lot of them might have taught us like sales, interaction with people, even customer service, marketing, all this kind of stuff. So you come out with all these different skill sets. But my concern for a lot of young people is when they haven't got anything. Like it was great that you did the mystery calling. That's an amazing, you know, work experience because, like I said, that led to recruitment where you're on the phone all the time. Yeah, great. Yeah. But when a lot of these young people have never done anything, and then it's really hard for them because you cannot learn some of those things in a classroom, can you?
Yeah, I do have some sympathy because I think it's coming from a place where they just don't know where to get the opportunities anyway, because you feel stuck not knowing where to look. And then so what advice would you give then to young people who have like just
no experience? Yeah. I mean, for those people, I would really say like look at what kind of any opportunity. It could be, you know, a family friend that has an office job or whatever. Can you not ask on a, you know, random holiday during university or whatever to like go shadow them, even just go sit in the office? It doesn't have to be paid. I think there's too much emphasis for getting paid work all the time, and that's not always the case, especially in this region. I don't think they allow you to be waitresses or anything, do they?
Yeah,
no part-time waitressing.
I do wish I started off doing service
something
roles,
like this,
right?
It's a good skill to have.
I wish I started off where you started off, where I did these small roles and then I built up to where I was, because that meant, at least I believe, I remember seeing someone say that like everyone should do a service role because they know what will it be like being in service. They know how hard it is, and you'll have tough skin. No one will touch you if you do like a service role. I wish I did it, because then I would know what it's like, because that's a different industry, and then work my way up into like corporate and in the corporate world. But
and then go that.
But in Dubai, that's not just how it works.
No, but the other option though is there's lots and lots of seasonal work, you know, abroad. Maybe not necessarily here, but like in Spain and all these other countries, Kenya even, I've seen some seasonal jobs. I did a lot of seasonal work when I was younger. I went and worked on a farm in Denmark, like picking strawberries. That's what, when I was 19. And now these are the kind of like life experiences. And also they teach you different things as well. You know, how to communicate with people of different backgrounds, how to look after yourself. You know, I lived there for 3 months one summer. But I don't know if a lot of youngsters are doing this kind of thing, and it's available. It's all there in lots of different countries. So that could be another angle. You know, look at seasonal jobs over the summer.
Yeah. I think that definitely works as well. It's just too bad that it's not here.
It's not here,
But yeah, if you can afford to go outside the country, then do it, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, what else could we say about for youngsters?
What else could you say? So now that you've gone into, obviously now you've got an apprenticeship, right? Now I created this for you and also for the reason that we take interns, one of the big reasons is so that I am clued up on how to manage people that are younger than me, and also that I will learn from you guys. You know, it was an intern that taught me how to do AI. I didn't have a clue how to use these systems like a couple of years ago. She sat there and she showed me how to use everything, you know, because she was like a AI, just what she uses every day.
The biggest strength that Gen Z has is that we have a completely different
exactly. And that can teach a lot of people that are older many things, right? So I think the reason I created an apprenticeship was because I also understand that younger people, they don't just want experience. They want to be able to grow, learn, get to the next stage and quicker than maybe people of my age. You know, when we were younger, we were just fine. Like we were just like, okay, we'll learn, we'll grow, we'll graft, we'll keep building. But I feel like a lot of Gen Z now, they want a clear plan of progression, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of like the apprenticeship and moving into that, what are your thoughts around that? Because you've seen the program that I developed.
My thoughts on what, sorry?
The apprenticeship and like obviously having like clear goals for over the next kind of 12 months. Do you think that is something that more companies should be doing even?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said, Gen Z, after they graduate, they come into the job market very scared because they don't know what to expect. They know what to expect. It actually is a whole bunch of rejections and applications that they have to do for the next couple months, next year. So for my case, it's completely special, like how you made it for me. So I have a clear plan for the next year, which is amazing. So I know what exactly to work on. I know my weaknesses, I know my strengths, and I know what to work on. And I think jobs, like future companies, like who want to do internships and who want to do apprenticeships, they need to be clear. Because then, I mean, not to the point where it's spoon feeding, right? But like Gen Zs are very strong people. They know what to work on if told to, and then they'll work even more beyond. Honestly, they're very hardworking. So yeah, I think companies should try to
have like milestones, because I've had it before, and this is also a reason. So I've taken a lot of interns to full-time employees, right?
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of cases where after 6 months, and they weren't, you know, like performing like over average or anything. They weren't like, you know, doing unbelievable or anything. But after 6 months, they would then ask for a pay rise. Or like a job title, like a promotion. And a lot of other business leaders have said things like this. So that's why I thought it was better to have, you know, like, okay, you understand what's expected from month 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, you know, and then all this kind of thing. Because is it the unknown? Is it everything that was taught, you know, in education, where there is this kind of misconception that you need to get to the next stage, and then a different job title and the salary increase and all this kind of stuff. That there was something like missing, you know, what is the word, like between reality and actually what's happening in the working world, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I just think I think in my position, it's actually still it's nice, but it's also very nerve-wracking, because that means I know my goal. I have to actually do it now, and then have to work hard towards it. But it's that good kind of like, it's almost excitement. Like I know what to work on, right?
Yeah.
So I think I have a newfound of like motivation. Like it's hard to motivate employees, right? So I think that way, companies should just try to keep doing that. Give a clear view. Because then, like, if people know what they need to do, then they're gonna work on it. And then, yeah, I think Gen Z they're hard workers, like I said, and then again they will always keep working hard if they know what they have to do.
Yeah. I think like I've learned that Gen Z, they are hard workers. They're very ambitious. They like clear progression though. They like to have milestones. And if they don't have some of these things, this is where they start looking outside, because there is this like notion that they move around jobs quite a lot. But I actually think that's because what worked for previous generations doesn't actually work for them. You know, we were just used to like, okay, just work and hope for the best.
Yeah. I think we're in a very like transitional phase of the job market, right? Of how things are gonna work now.
Yeah,
we're kind of like witnessing a completely new change.
Yeah, definitely, and it will change. But I think that maybe some businesses are a bit too slow. The finger isn't on the pulse of that change.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I also believe that apprenticeships will be a major thing, going into the next kind of 5 years. Now, in the UK, apprenticeships are big anyway, but it's mainly in like plumbing and electricians and quite physical like work. But why could apprenticeships not be available in professional services or other environments as well? Because I mean, Emily didn't go to university. She started straight away in recruitment, 18 years old. Now, I would love another 18-year-old, 16 even, that came to me and said, I want a career in recruitment. I'm going to intern. And then if I'm good enough, then I might get an apprenticeship. That's what I would like. I would like a whole bunch of apprentices, and then almost maybe forego the university piece even and like learn on the job.
Yeah.
I think there is a clear need for this, you know.
That's the issue. I think maybe some companies just think that interns or apprenticeships are like a liability. That's why when you see like an internship job posting, it says like 1 year of experience.
Yeah.
But why is it though? Like why is it like that when an internship is meant to be for learning, for experience? So that's I think the most frustrating thing we see in Gen Z is that, again, it's just very high expectations from the companies that we cannot provide, obviously, because we just came out of university. That's why people have my age have started working during university, which, yeah, that's good, but university is meant for learning and internships are meant for learning. And then you can, and then we can step up into apprenticeships, right? And then full-time roles, because like the growth will be there, right?
Yeah.
And then there's no harm in just trying to invest in youth, right?
Yeah. And that's why I never give up. Like I've had some, about some of the stories, like I've had some awful like situations with interns.
So many stories. I really wish that we could just like make a book out of it or something.
And I'm sure we could one day, out of all the different stories. And people still say to me, oh God, you had that experience. Why would you keep going? And I said, because I like it. And I still learn, even the experiences that were bad. I still learned something from that.
Yeah.
And maybe, okay, at the time it was, oh God, but on reflection, when you're out of it, you think, okay, what did I learn from that? I still learned something, you know?
So it's like that good kind of, like they say with Dubai, everything is transactional. But this is like a good kind of transactional where you learn something from the bad experience. And me being an intern, I learned so much. And that's just like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, for the future of some of the people as well that maybe did the negative aspects, then they might have learned something too. And I sleep well at night knowing that they might have learned something that they won't bring forward to another company.
Yeah, that's also a thing. So also feedback is very important for any role, right? So I think, if for any Gen Zs that have work now, always ask for feedback. Always also recap what you're doing, because sometimes your higher ups don't know what... They just kind of leave you off, and then they kind of just... Always just recap on what you're doing. Let them know that you're actually doing work. Or else who knows? And then do one-on-one talks as well, because that way you'll just improve further. And then
And so I've taken 5 interns to full-time jobs. So I think it's worth noting and worth saying that 5 of our interns have gone into full-time employment at Genie. But many of the others, that it was not an expectation. Our internships is not like you must want to be a recruiter for the rest of your life. I give that opportunity to say this is what it's like working in a working environment. If you take to recruitment, great. If you don't, doesn't matter. At least it was experience for all of us, right? And you remain part of our Genie gang for the rest of your life, and we'll always help them. And many of the other interns have then gone on to work at quite major companies, like Emirates, Al Shire, Alpha Tame, Dubai Holdings. I've got one at Oxford University, real cool stuff to talk about. And then they will still message me and say, oh, I learned this from you. Or, I appreciate all the things that you taught because it taught me this, or it helped me do this, or whatever it might be, right?
Like, you don't realize how rare it is that what you're doing is like, it's extremely rare, because you're bringing in people just for the sake of like wanting them to be exposed. That I've never come across that in any other company. Usually with internships I've interviewed for, it is like, yeah, they need someone to help with this, they need someone for this. But you're just here like, come be in the office, see how it is. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, then keep working on it, right?
Yeah.
That I'm kind of telling you that never happens. Yeah. Nowhere else.
Yeah. So well, I've had interns that came in and they really couldn't do recruitment, and that was fine.
Yeah, that's fine, right? Though. Yeah,
I just had them doing events, like running around for us, like doing lots of rapping. You know, we have lots of funny games that happen in the office. So, and that was fine. And you know, we would never sit there and say, oh, they're not a recruiter. So what? You know, maybe they were meant to be in events or the creative field or the arts or whatever, but at least they got some experience and they know now this is not for them. And then they will pursue their craft, you know, in maybe a different direction.
Yeah, they'll still have like, even though it's not for them, they'll have a clear vision.
A clear view, clearer view anyway.
And I think sometimes people go into internships being in a more like messier view than they were before they actually joined. So it's good though. It's good, that you provide that, definitely.
Yeah.